Good evening and welcome back to Empty Cloud Monastery. My name is Bhante Suddhāso and we'll be looking at another discourse of the Buddha. This one is from the Anguttara Nikaya, chapter 4, sutta number 85, the Tamotamasutta. So I'll start with homage to the Buddha, and then I'll read through the discourse and give some explanations. And you can type in questions at any time and I'll answer them at the end. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. So as mentioned, we'll be reading through the Tamotamasutta, which is from the Anguttara Nikaya, chapter 4, sutta number 85, which is translated here by Bhante Sujato as from darkness to darkness. So I will again read through the discourse, and I'll make some comments based on the Pali translation and the meaning of the discourse as we go along. So the Buddha begins, he says, "Monks, these four people are found in the world. What for? The dark bound for darkness, the dark bound for light, the light bound for darkness, and the light bound for light. Or those who come from darkness and are heading for darkness, those who come from darkness and are heading for light, those who come from light and are heading for darkness, and those who come from light and are heading for light." And then the Buddha explains what he means. So for the first one, he says, how is a person coming from darkness and bound for darkness? It's when a person is reborn in a low family. A family of corpse workers, bamboo workers, hunters, chariot makers, or scavengers. People who are poor, with little to eat or drink, where life is difficult, and food and shelter are hard to find. And they are ugly, unsightly, deformed, sickly, so they might be one-eyed, crippled, lame, or partially paralyzed. They don't get to have food, drink, clothing, and vehicles, garlands, fragrances, or cosmetics. They don't get to have beds, housing, and lighting. And they do evil things by way of body, speech, and mind. And when their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a place of loss, in a bad destination, in the underworld, in hell. This is how a person is coming from darkness and bound for darkness. So this is the first of the four kinds of people that the Buddha mentioned. So this is somebody who is born into quite uncomfortable conditions, unpleasant conditions, as a result of their own bad karma from past lives. So he mentions people who are born into a low-class family, so a family that is poor, which has little to eat and drink, which has poor supplies, poor housing, and so on, and also which has a family occupation which is quite looked down upon in society. So he gives the example of people who work with corpses and so on. So people who are not well respected and well regarded in society. And furthermore, the person has various physical problems. So being ugly and deformed, or having various physical disabilities. And they don't have access to pleasant things in their life. So this is, again, all things which are the result of bad karma that we've made in previous lives. So if in past lives we do good things, then we're more likely to experience pleasant things in this life. And if we do good things in this life, we're more likely to experience pleasant things in future lives. But the opposite is also true. If we've done a lot of evil deeds in past lives, then we're more likely to experience bad fortune in this life. And if we do more bad things in this life, then we're going to experience more misfortune and harmful conditions in future lives. So that's the example he's giving here. This is somebody who they're already born into quite unpleasant and difficult circumstances as a result of the bad karma they've made in past lives, but then they make even more bad karma. So they engage in misconduct with body, speech, and mind. They do various harmful and evil deeds in this life, and then that creates the conditions for them to experience even further torment and difficulty in future lives, even to the point of being reborn in the hell realms, the lower worlds. So this is how he says a person is in darkness and bound for further darkness. Then the second case, he says, how is a person coming from darkness and bound for light? And he gives the same situation, so a person that's reborn in a low family, so again, a family of corpse workers and so on, with a difficult life, hard to get food and shelter, ugly, unsightly, deformed, crippled, and so on. But here the Buddha says, but they do good things by way of body, speech, and mind. So they engage in good conduct, wholesome actions with their body, speech, and mind. And the Buddha says, when they're separated from their body after death, then they are reborn in a good destination, in a heavenly realm. So again, this is the opposite side. So it's somebody who, they may have done evil deeds in past lives, and they might currently be experiencing the harmful consequences of that. But they still make the effort to engage in wholesome conduct. They still make an effort to practice morality, to practice generosity, to practice kindness and tolerance and compassion. And as a result, they create the conditions to experience more pleasant circumstances in future lives, even to the point of being born in a heaven world. So this is a person coming from darkness and bound for light. And then he says, how is a person coming from light and bound for darkness? He says it's when a person is reborn in a prominent family, a wealthy family of aristocrats, Brahmins or householders, people who are rich, affluent, and wealthy, with lots of gold and silver, lots of property and assets, lots of money and grain. And they are attractive, good-looking, lovely, beautiful. They get to have plenty of food, drink, clothing, and vehicles, garlands, fragrances, and cosmetics, beds, houses, and lighting. But they do bad things with body, speech, and mind. And when they're separated from their body after death, they're reborn in a place of deprivation, a bad destination, the underworld, in hell. This is a person coming from light and bound for darkness. So this third case is somebody who, again, they've done good deeds in the past, in past lives, and as a result in this life they're born in a circumstance of privilege. So maybe they're born into a rich and influential family where it's very easy for them to get what they want. They have a lot of power in their life. They have a lot of maybe political power, and the ability to access a wide variety of pleasant circumstances, pleasant things in this life. And on top of that, they're also good looking and attractive and healthy. So again, somebody who seems to have it all. But what they lack is morality. So because they lack morality, because they lack conscience, then they engage in evil deeds. They engage in harmful behavior. Which means that as a result, in future lives, they're going to experience disastrous consequences, and they might even be reborn in hell. So again, this is something which we can observe as we look around in the world nowadays. You can see people who they were born into wealth and privilege and power, but then they engage in all manner of harmful, evil deeds, actions which cause harm to hundreds, thousands, millions, even billions of people. And as a result, they're building up bad karma, which will result in them losing all the good fortune that they've gained and being reborn in hellish states of being in future lives. And then the Buddha gives the last case. He says, how is a person coming from light and bound for light? And it's when a person is reborn in a prominent family, and he mentions as before, so somebody who's from a wealthy family of aristocrats and so on. with lots of wealth and property and all of that, and they're beautiful and healthy and all that. And he says, and they do good deeds with body, speech, and mind. And when they're separated from their body after death, they're reborn in a good destination, a heavenly realm. This is how a person is coming from light and bound for light. So this fourth case, so this is actually emphasizing the importance of if we are born in good conditions, we should recognize that that's not to be taken for granted. We should recognize that the good fortune and supportive conditions and pleasant circumstances that we have are all the result of our past good karma. And if we don't keep up our commitment to doing good deeds, if we don't keep refreshing and renewing our morality and our generosity and our compassion, then we're going to lose the good fortune that we have. So looking at the good conditions in our life, the supportive conditions in our life, we should think, oh, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to fall into misery and misfortune. So I need to be very careful to not cause harm, and I need to be dedicated to doing as much good as I can, to doing as much kind, compassionate, generous actions as I can with this life, so that I can always progress towards positive conditions, so I can always stay in the light, stay in the pleasant side of samsara. So the Buddha says these are the four people found in the world. So a brief and direct discourse about karma and rebirth. So we'll respect the sutta with 3 sadhus, and then I'll see if there's any questions. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And hello to the people checking in online. Hello to Maria, Ryan, Janaki, Cynthia, Mary, and Lydia. Good to see all of you checking in. And I don't see any questions, so perhaps a sufficiently straightforward and direct discourse, a good reminder to appreciate the good conditions we have, appreciate our own past good karma, and commit ourselves to maintaining our good karma and not making any harmful choices. So we can conclude the stream at this point, and we'll see you all next time.